What is up, ladies and gents? It is your friendly neighborhood BJJ podcaster, RAF ESPARZA, coming to you live from Los Angeles. Yes, we are safe. Thank you so much for the many people who have gone out of their way to check in. All things considered, very well. Excuse me. Things are obviously not the best in LA, but we've been checking in on a lot of friends and family, and it does look like a lot of people are okay. So we decided to press forward with an episode today. But nonetheless, big shout outs to all of our friends who've been doing an excellent job of checking in with us, and one of whom was very sweetly sending us notes, and that is one Tim Freeman. Tim, how are you doing, sir?
I'm doing great, Raf. I am glad that you're doing all right, man. You were the first person that I thought about when I heard the fires were out there. I know you're not too far away from that area. So, there's lots of fires in California. That's one thing you learn when you live in California. There's going to be a fire. It's just a matter of when. So I'm glad you're doing well. Heart goes out to everybody who's in a bad way right now. And there's a lot of people in a bad way right now. So I hope everyone can pull it together.
Thank you for that, Tim. And I have to say, we definitely have some stuff to cover here today, and we'll get to it. Obviously, we have a board. That's a big thing that we'll get into for all of those topics. Having said that, I do think it is important to note KEVIN SHERRILL was scheduled to be here, and he currently is facing some blizzard situations as well. So it just seems like weather has not been the friend to a lot of us here in many different ways. So we here in California are not alone. It seems to be everywhere. So we hope wherever you're watching this, you're safe, your friends, your family are good, your training partners are good, depending on if you refer to them as friends or family. Some people are very clear. You are just a training partner. That's okay too. We wish them well. And one thing I would caution, and I suppose we can get kind of right into it off of the board here. You see here, we definitely had obviously issues here in Los Angeles where a lot of schools were actually closed down. And as they should be, it's not bad if certain gyms want to go. Every gym needs to make their own decision. We've been through this before. If anybody lived through the COVID situation, some people have to make their decisions. It's a bad thing not to train for health, but depending on where you are, it may not be the smartest thing either, because you're also going to be going through certain weather conditions. So I would say be very vigilant about looking up the air quality. If it is safer for you, maybe you're a little bit older, you're immunocompromised, might be a good thing to stay home. But Tim, have you heard any notes from your friends out in California?
No, most of my homies are in Northern California. I have heard from the 10th Planet crew. Obviously, the gym there in Pasadena has been impacted pretty hard, and several of the members of that school have been impacted pretty hard. And I know 10th Planet's trying to do their part to help in terms of providing relief, getting donations, so on and so forth. But yeah, that's pretty much the most news that I've heard. That's my main connection out there in Southern California.
Now, you can tell me maybe a little bit better than even I know. Did the 10th Planet Pasadena gym have any structural damage? Because I saw footage from the account where they went to go check in on the gym, and at the time it looked like the gym was okay, but that the nearby businesses around them were actually impacted.
Yeah, that's correct. That is the status that I know of the last time I checked, which was a little bit earlier today. It sounds like the Pasadena gym structurally is fine, but everywhere in the area is in a real bad shape. Lots of down lines, lots of terrible stuff. So I guess that's one thing to count your blessings for, but at the same time it's also like, damn, like everybody else's stuff got destroyed here and my building's still standing. That's a wild thing. But hopefully all this can get contained, and America's pretty good about rebuilding again. So
Well, not just that, but it's also from the community aspect. Like, we've heard certain things about reimbursements, and that's going to be good, but it doesn't necessarily get the immediate procedures back in. So thank you for this. I did see a note from my good friend Chan, who said, glad you're safe, Raf and Tim. Well, we should also mention, Tim, what is happening out in the South? We kind of previewed that with Kevin, but what exactly is happening out with
Yeah.
you guys out there?
Well, right outside my window, I know y'all can't see it that well, but it's snowing like crazy. And the problem with snow in the South is none of these southern cities are really prepared for snow. There's like one snow plow in the city of Nashville, and basically they're keeping Broadway open so people can go to the bars and drink and listen to country music. But outside of that, it's pretty snowed in right now. I'm trying to get down to Decatur tomorrow, which is under 2 hours for the PGF qualifiers. And at the same time, tomorrow evening, there's supposed to be a fight to win going on downtown Nashville. So I got guys at both of those events, but I'm looking outside and I'm thinking like this might not happen because once the sun sets and you wake up in the morning, everything's going to be iced over. So we'll see. I'm playing it by ear. Listen, I learned how to drive in Stockton, California. I don't know how to drive in this kind of stuff, and it doesn't happen that much. So it's kind of like, oh shit, once a year you got to remember how to drive in the ice. I'm not built for that. I'll crash for sure. So I have to be extra careful.
Absolutely. And I mean, who teaches you how to drive in snow? Like,
God, I don't
if you
know,
really think
right?
about it, it is not something that they give you in here in California. They'll tell you the written text. They'll be like, "Hey, you know, put some chains on that thing and good luck with it." And that's pretty much what you see in terms of the writing test. But
Yeah.
as someone who had to take the driving test a couple times, writing test, aced it, no problem. Driving test, I got some shitty driving uh, instructors, if you would, or adjudicators, who basically were like, "You didn't left turn well enough." And then I saw what passed for other people, and I go, "Oh, well, that sucks." So anyway,
Yeah.
good to hear. But Tim, do you mind kind of walking us through what we have seen? There has been a spearheaded campaign by, of course, one of the most prominent individuals here in the 10th planet system, the mama bear, if you would, who has definitely gone out of her way to get things organized. So what exactly has been mentioned or that it looks like they're about to do for the 10th planet system to help out their own?
Yeah, and I'm gonna pull it up so I get the information right. But basically, Donna Gonzalez, who's a big part of the 10th Planet family, in conjunction with lots of other folks in the 10th Planet, family of schools that's down in Southern California. Which, if you're in Southern California, there's jujitsu on every street corner already. But in Southern California, feels like there's a 10th Planet jujitsu just about everywhere as well. So I want to look it up. I know they're collecting donations at several of the 10th Planet academies that are, within a safe distance from what's going on. And then those academies are trying to get it over to 10th Planet Pasadena just to help those folks there. But I got to give me 1 second and I will find
Of course, of course.
the link here. I know I posted it on 10th Planet Nashville. That's what I did. Um,
Well, let me see if I
let's
can give
see.
you some notes here because
Yeah,
as you're doing that,
please.
I'm going to pull up some information that I am aware of and that I have seen happen on my side. Over this way in California, it does look like Tap Cancer Out is opening up some availability for people who want to compete. I believe it is happening in San Diego this weekend. So keep eyes on that. There is an LA tournament. Or I'm sorry, a San Diego tournament, and they opened it up to LA friends. Now, part of the reason why I think they did that is Dream Jiu Jitsu had to cancel their tournament and did so in good faith because they don't want any of the kids affected by the extreme air pollution, which is an admirable thing. So, as a result, Tap Cancer Out said, "Hey, if you guys were looking for a tournament, we're here in San Diego. All things considered, much better air and region and weather." So, they definitely opened that up. I think that is great. Also wanted to give a shout out to our good friends over at Henzo Gracie, Los Angeles. They're also getting support for LA evacuees. You can help by bringing to Henzo Gracie, Los Angeles, non-perishable food, clothing, toiletries, baby supplies, and of course, volunteering your time. So the drop off locations: Henzo Gracie, Los Angeles, 5121 Sunset Boulevard; Henzo Gracie, East LA. That's on 6132 East Washington Boulevard. That one is near Commerce. And Henzo Gracie Evolution, that is in Chatsworth. That is 9745 Independence Street. So if you guys are looking for places to go, you can go to those places. Tim, did you find the Donna
Yeah.
post? All right, good. I'm going to give you some time to go over those.
I did. So, basically, the items that they're looking for are, clothing, shoes, jackets, obviously underwear, all sizes, any kind of hygiene products, towels, diapers, baby wipes, pet food, sleeping bags, pillows, blankets. If you're inclined to give a gift card, I'm sure they could put that to use. Um, there are additional drop-off locations, in the area, and I'll give those to you. They're trying to collect these items by tomorrow at 12 p.m. Pacific. So that would be 10th Planet Murrieta, 10th Planet Riverside, 10th Planet Route 66, and I can't remember what city that school is in. I have
I
one of
think
their
it's
rash
Riverside,
guards.
isn't it?
Is Route 66 in Riverside also?
I
Okay.
think that is
Maybe
the Gus
maybe that's
10th
yeah,
planet.
right. Yeah, okay. And then 10th Planet West Covina. So those are the locations where you can do a drop off if you can get them there before Saturday at 12 p.m. And I think that Boogie and Geo are doing a seminar over the weekend, perhaps. I don't know the exact date. I just briefly saw it to raise money for this. So,
Yes, I've seen some information as well. Um, the Pasadena Fight Academy. My good friend out that way. He is getting stuff, so that's Savant Young at Venmo. If you want to donate some money there, you can also go to drop off over at the Flint Ridge Center at 236 Mountain in Pasadena. And it does look like right now the one of the best benefactors I've seen is the Pasadena Humane Society. Now, Pasadena was hit very hard by the Eaton fires, and I saw mounds of pet food and supplies that they sent on over to there, to the point where they had to say, hey, listen, we're good. But they can use financial donations. So if you're looking for a place to go, the Pasadena Humane Society does an excellent job with their animals there. And there were some animals that were like abandoned, uh, a lot of crazy stuff happening all over the place. And shout out to one of my good friends, Rick Miller. Rick Miller is an excellent competitor, jiu-jitsu and judo, and he found one of these dogs that was injured as he and a friend were going to see that friend's childhood home being affected, and found this dog, took it to the Humane Society. I believe that the Humane Society is going to be able to help this very injured dog. But talk about good Samaritans. So very, very
yeah.
good to see.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is people have a lot of stuff, and sometimes it's just like material stuff. You can replace a piece of furniture. Sometimes it's very personal things like photos, documents that are important, things that you don't want, things that you hold dear to your heart, and also things that you need. And then they also have pets, and they have extended, they feel it, they consider those members of their family. And
Yeah.
sometimes pets get abandoned, unfortunately, in situations like this, and then they end up on the streets running around. It's already there's already enough pets running around wild, let alone the ones that are victims of a fire. So if you could help out in that area, that's pretty cool too.
Also, want to give a note, if you guys are in the Whittier area, Tillis BJJ is accepting donations. They are located at 10064 Mills Avenue, Whittier, California. And the drop off times are pretty consistent throughout the week, 8 to 12. Saturday and Sunday, it'll be 8 a.m. to 11. And then Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, 5 till 7 p.m. And those drop offs are happening on the 12th and the 19th. So it looks like they will be continuing to take donations throughout the next week. And an additional one I wanted to add was, I believe I have heard that the folks over at 10th Planet Burbank, for those of us local out this way, they're also accepting donations for that Donna Gonzalez led effort to help those folks. And just so you guys are aware, in case you're coming in a little bit late, we have been told, and this is all as of now, everything can change. And I want to make it very clear. Yes, there was an arson suspect yesterday. We still aren't clear on what that story is out here in Los Angeles. But by and large, these embers, they can fly up to about 2 miles and create additional problems that expand all of the resources here for all of our firefighters. So when you're looking at how these fires spread so quickly, yes, they were not able to do airdrops, which was a significant way of how it spread in the first day or so here in Los Angeles. But even though right now we are saying everything looks good, things can change. God bless all these firemen and women who have been able to put out these fires and make them way more mitigated than they have been. But nonetheless, no structural damage to 10th Planet Pasadena, but a number of their students and their members have been significantly impacted. And that's what you have to do, is you figure, well, thank God nothing happened to the gym. But even as of right now, I'm getting notes on the Watch Duty app that let me know that even though the restrictions are lifted in certain areas, you see it kind of on these maps here, even though they're getting lifted for evacuation orders, people are going back and finding what is remaining of their communities. So if not them, I'm sure they're going to know people who need help and assistance, and many of these people are going to be too afraid to ask for it. So it's better if you have these things in abundance that you can give them, because the fastest resources will be your community. I guarantee you that. So big ups to everybody in the community. And I did want to give one other update, Tim. Again, we mentioned we don't know exactly what's going on with that arson suspect. I don't know that they had enough to actually keep him. I don't know if they had probable cause. Nonetheless, having a blowtorch at a time when lots of fires are going on,
not a good look, dude.
You know, listen, dude, time and place, right? You know what's so funny is I sit there trying to joke and think of ways to tell the story, but if you have a blowtorch, maybe we should just investigate you a little bit to begin with. Nonetheless, there is some footage that went around that day, and I don't know if people laughed or made it all the way to the end of that video when they detained him. Some civilians detained him. At the very end of the clip that they put up, you heard somebody say like, "Oh, that's some MMA and jiu-jitsu," and I was like, "Excuse me." So goes to show you guys. Yes, jiu-jitsu does come in effect. So it does look like they were able to detain him, and I think they got some zip ties and held that person there. And I know you might be inclined to say, what if they got it wrong? Turned out, even though they don't have probable cause for that dude being a dipshit who started fires, they did have probable cause for him being a dipshit with priors. So it does look like that gentleman still is detained last I checked. Nonetheless, these are moving situations, Tim. So half the time whenever I'm reading this stuff, I'm like, wait, what did he do? And are we still keeping him? Yeah. Is he a douchebag? And also, don't bring blowtorches and start fires when shit's going on.
He was on a bicycle with a blowtorch. It's just like, that's a terrible look. And I think there's a video of the takedown. I haven't seen it, but I saw a reference to it. There's like a leg hook takedown.
It's
or something.
100% a leg hook takedown. So they're literally like, this dude's detaining him, just holding him. And then I think the person just has enough and is just like leg sweeps him. Like he looked like Dan Hubler with some kids is essentially what was happening here. But to me, I think it was a small win. And you know how annoying this is. I looked at my wife and I was like, hey, and she goes, what? I go, this dude shouted out MMA and jiu-jitsu at the end. And she's like, are you guys going to make this about jiu-jitsu and MMA? And I'm like, absolutely we will. Like every single time we get a win, we celebrate it here. So we're not
that's
above
all we
it.
Got, Raph.
Well, that's what I try to tell her. I was like, what other good news do you have? All we have right now is Mudang and that one dude who got a takedown. Everything else has gone to shit. So there
Yeah.
is that. But what we will do here is when we come back, I think next week, we'll give you updates as people are going on. Because keep in mind this, donations, taking care of your community, it goes out of fashion very fast. But I want to tell you, when
Yeah.
people say that they're going to rebuild these things, logistically ask yourself how long it is going to take to rebuild buildings, houses, with labor and costs and reimbursements. So we're glad that everybody's fine, but we're going to begin the very long process of a rebuild. So it's not just going to be one donation set. I really do hope that we do not lose sight of keeping this at the forefront. And if we know that jiu-jitsu people are affected, let us do our best to try and be a good community and check in on these people, because it's very nice that we do it on days 1 and 2. But I guarantee you these people are still going to be hurting on month 3, 4, 5, and 6. So let's be very consistent, proactive, check in on your people. And again, we're still not out of the woods yet, because they keep saying fires. You know what I mean? Like, they're like, this fire is 35% contained. I remember Tim sent me a text and he was like, bro, they're talking about that fire being like 10% contained. I go, nah, that's pretty good. I'm going to go back to sleep. It's fine.
They first said it is 0% contained,
Yeah.
and then the co-anchor goes, "It's 100% out of control." It was like, whoa,
You know, it's very funny because they say the same about me at most jiu-jitsu and MMA events whenever I'm reporting. So, yeah, I mean, listen, guys, we're obviously in a space where I've heard some unfortunate statements. I think you have to have some grace for some of these people making these dumb statements. I heard Biden make a fire pun, and I was just like, hey, bud, not the time. But you know what? You're on your way out, dude. Who gives a fuck? I just think to myself, as you watch people, just try to have some grace for people doing the best they can, being stressed out of all their ears. Well, at the same time, instead of complaining, just be proactive yourself, because I think that's where you're going to see the
Yeah.
most effectiveness. So, if you guys hear of stuff, please feel free to send it my way. I'm happy to amplify it. I've already gotten words from some friends that they're going to be looking to do some stuff themselves, and maybe organizing like seminars and doing things on their own. I did want to give one final one here, and I'm going to look this one up from, I think it is our good friends over at 10th Planet San Diego. You mentioned it, but I'll go ahead and give it another mention
Yeah.
here. 10th Planet San Diego is going to do a seminar at 10th Planet Oceanside. That is the location. So 10th Planet Oceanside. Details will follow. That is going to be January 25th. January 25th, they will be doing a fundraiser. So it's going to be between all the 10th Planet freaks. They're doing their best to create proceeds and donations, those going into need due to the wildfires. And it will feature, Geo, Boogie, PJ, and even here you're going to have Kevin Burbick, which some amazing talent coming together to help out people in
Yeah.
need. So big shout out to the 10th Planet Freaks for, not wasting us a minute to get involved in this. So, and again, Donna and I have always had a very funny, we like to give each other mess online. When shit hits the fan, she is always the first person to take care of everybody in 10th Planet. So very much appreciate Donna for getting those all set to go. But with that being
Yeah.
said,
Donna's a rock star, dude. Donna's a rock star. 100%.
why don't we go and advance the board and go to some other things? Now, Tim, you put up here, this one says update. And you said, what's everyone up to? Now, I knew this was originally your way of saying, like, hey, Raph, do you need to talk about some stuff like that's going on here? I think we addressed some of it, but I'd like to know what else is happening in this world. There was a new year. We did do some awards. That was cool. But what has been taking place for you out in the Nashville in the past, 10 new days of the new year, Tim?
Yeah. I mean, mostly jujitsu. It seems like most things in my life revolve around jujitsu and high school wrestling right now, which is pretty cool to watch. Like, hey guys, I can't come to jujitsu tonight because I'm going to watch a dual meet, which is still grappling, so I'm still winning. Um, couple things go. Well, I mentioned this earlier. The qualifiers are going down in Decatur tomorrow. Fight to Win is supposed to be going down in Nashville tomorrow. There's some pretty good fights on that card. I don't know if it's going to take place. I hope it takes place. I'm kind of thinking that Seth is like, I'm from Colorado. This ain't shit. Like, we're doing the show. So if that's the case, then it sounds like it might go down. So that'd be pretty cool for the folks that are on that card. Outside of that, man, I've just been training a lot. I launched a new kids program in Nashville, and I gotta admit, it's been a little while since I've taught kids. And I had a real big kids program in Stockton. I had cut my teeth on teaching kids. I really enjoy working with kids. It was super fun. And when we moved out to Nashville, I didn't do it very much. And we didn't have a kids program for a few years. And so we kicked it back up. And my son has been helping, but there was a class, like I think it was the second class where he wasn't able to make it. And I was running it on my own. And man, I was just kind of sitting there with my hands on my knees, like, dude, I forgot how much energy it takes to manage a room full of kids, man. This is no joke. But it feels good to kind of start exercising that muscle again. On top of that, the other thing I'm excited about is we're starting a women's class out here in Nashville. So
Nice.
one of our instructors, Michelle, is going to be leading that. And the way we're doing it out here is right now we're just making it free for ladies to come to, whether you already train jujitsu, if you train in another school and you just want to have another night on Tuesday night to come in and train, just come in and train. We're not trying to proselyte anybody. We're just like, we're trying to build a night of the week where the ladies all have a place to go train. And there's a couple other schools in town that are doing it on other nights. So it's kind of a cool thing. So I'm pretty excited about those two programs. And we're also doing some striking, which is, always a challenge when you have a pure grappling school and then you open it up to striking. Sometimes it's like hats versus glasses, strikers versus grapplers. But right now it's all grappling guys doing it. So it's actually pretty fun. And I thought maybe I'll make it a prerequisite that you have to train jujitsu twice a week if you want to come to the striking class and see how well that goes over. But I'm thinking about that. But other than that, man, things are going good. My son just got ranked number 6 in the state of Tennessee for his weight
Hey.
class in wrestling. So that's a pretty cool thing. He can wrestle way better than I can wrestle. It's not, I just sit down. I'm a habitual guard puller now, but um yeah, man, good stuff. Starting the year off strong, and it's good to be here, man.
Well, I'm glad to hear that, sir, because you should probably also not be giving yourself too much mess for being like, man, I'm a permanent guard puller. It's like, well, dude, I don't know if people understand this. Wrestling past 40 doesn't really exist. Like,
Oh, it's
I
brutal.
know there are some people who wrestle and have kids. So, like, you talk to somebody like a PJ Barch, he's like, oh, my dad's still a beast. And I go, sure, dude, that's not how the body works for everybody, though. At a certain point, the body breaks down. And even though you're like, I'm going to wrestle you, and then you go, no, I'm not. Body just
Yeah.
overrode me and said, you are not doing that. So there is that. You want to know something interesting on my side was a few of my students said that they were interested in competing. So I think I found them a tournament. I was super excited to talk about it. I happened to put up a solicitation on the same day the fires were going on. So like my update was very much like, hey, you guys want to go compete? And I got notes like, yeah, coach, I'm in. I'm in. And like normally that's when you go like, all right, you guys better show up tomorrow. Like
Yeah.
instead it became, hey guys, do not show up at the gym. Uh,
Yeah.
Now that we're talking about it, we will continue this. Everybody go get their shit on Monday or so. And even then, that has been the humor that has been kind of taking place on our side of the world. But nonetheless, very, very interesting stuff. So, Tim, I'm glad to hear the kids doing well. I'm glad to hear you've got these programs that are coming up. But you put up another one here that I think has to do more with us. And I'm intrigued to hear what your thoughts may be. Now, I read this as project, but it's kind of like project. And if that's the case, what are we trying to project here? Well, we're trying to predict what exactly is going to take place in 2025. So, sir, I'm going to have you lead us off here. What exactly are you projecting is going to happen in 2025, sir?
Well, I was thinking about how fast jujitsu's been moving and how much it's grown in the last, I would say the last 2 to 3 years. We've seen an accelerated growth in the sport. And even before that, we all kind of felt like, man, jujitsu's really growing, especially in the nogi side of things. So I wrote down my projections for 2025. This is what I think is going to happen. Number one, and this is my kiss up to the commish, PGF season 8. I think the 155 pounders are going to be the most PGF, the most talked about PGF since it started. I think it's going to be stacked. There's already some pretty big names in there. And I'll tell you, one of them is the kid that we love to talk about on this show, and that's Jet Thompson. This is the rumor I've heard. The question is like, how's he going to get down to 155? I don't know what he's going to do to make that, but I think we're going to see some real big things out of PGF coming up in March here. I'm really excited for that. The other thing is, I think, and I don't know if this is PGF or someone else, so I want to clarify it, but I think we're going to see a big money acquisition of a promotion from a real company that's like, oh shit, they bought that. Oh my gosh. Like, I think that's coming in 2025. I think 2024 set the stage. It put a lot of eyeballs on the sport. It piqued a lot of interest, and there's a lot of dudes with a lot of money that are looking to get involved with something that they could 100x or 1000x in terms of investment and turnaround. And there's not lots of opportunity out there for that. In professional jiu-jitsu might be one of those things. So don't be surprised if you see a major move in that market. The other one is, I believe we're going to see Gordon Ryan and Mikey Musumeci in a sick-off to see which athlete can come up with the most health ailments. I really believe it. I think the winner should get Medicare for life. maybe get a
Don't do
prosthetic
that.
leg as a trophy, but I wouldn't put it beyond. Gordon's so competitive, he could have surgically induced leg removal so he could beat Mikey in this race. But I hope both these guys get healthy soon.
You have to shut up
But
right now. Okay,
man,
hold on. You just talked about a healthcare on a pole match between two extreme personalities in our sport. And you did so under the guise, man, I hope all things are great with them. Which, first of all, no, you don't. Second of all, I want to point this out. I feel it's very strange when I see the post from Mikey after the fact, not even the week of, 3 weeks after the fact, that says, hey guys, I just want to let you know I was facing some stuff. Turns out I had like 3 ulcers. It's crazy. Anyway, I competed and we're great. And I think to myself, maybe you shouldn't be competing. Like,
yeah.
take some time off. I know competition is huge. And I know you signed this new deal, which makes it probably harder to not compete than it does to do the opposite. But it's just in my brain. Seeing this, it makes me not want to see his matches. And it's no offense to him. It's just, get yourself healthier, dude. And maybe there's a world where we don't need to see you doing this, because
Yeah.
it's putting you at risk at an age where I don't think you need to be taking those risks. And I don't know. I don't know if it's a prolonged condition where it doesn't matter what he does, he's just going to continuously be in some kind of ailment. But I get concerned every single time. And I think, why is this dude ending up in a hospital after every single match, or even before it? So I didn't know if you felt the same way, but I definitely had an adverse
Yeah.
reaction to that last post, and I almost sent it to our group chat. I just didn't want a record
Yeah.
of being a bad person. And
Yeah.
I looked at it and I almost just put, maybe I don't need to see him compete. And that's just the way I feel. And that's it. And it's no disrespect for him. He's obviously a great competitor. Perhaps one of the marquee stars in jiu-jitsu. I don't know
Yeah.
why it is anything else that maybe I just put a little bit more of a premium on making sure he's healthy.
Yeah, and he could be overtraining. sometimes he looks overtrained. And how does the conversation go when he goes in? He's like, "Ah, man, I'm not feeling good. My stomach's hurting." And the doctor goes, "Well, what's your diet like?" "I eat pizza every day." It's like, "Oh, you got 3 stomach ulcers, man. Like, you might have to you might have to change your diet a little bit, Mikey." Um, my last prediction that I'm gonna put out there is that Hoffa Mendez returns to competition. I think we're gonna see it. There were some rumors that
Mhm.
were floating around last year. He's got a lot in the tank. He retired very early, and he's highly competitive, and I can't help but think with the amount of money that's getting thrown around for jiu-jitsu that Hoffa Mendez would want to put his name back out there and, walk away with a bag. I think he's missing the war. I think he's seeing all these dudes go out there and battle, and he's like, "Damn, man, I'm missing it. I want to get back in action." So that's what I got for 2025.
Those are pretty good. I'll add one I have at press time. So I'm thinking right now, the rights to these organizations. And I can't help but think we're in a weird climate where a lot of people are looking for content, looking for something to make them stand out from somewhere else. It was just announced today that the UFC, their contract is coming up, and I guarantee you they are considering following suit with the WWE that had a successful debut and a very slick production. If I can mention this, went to WWE Raw on Monday. That production made us look like chumps. And Tim, I'm going to come back and put this with a full frame with the two of us. But you watched part of that Raw, right?
Yes.
Okay. What'd you think of that opening when they did a curtain or a little sheet over the ring and then the reveal?
I thought that was awesome.
You would be right. And it was not only awesome on TV, it was fucking mind blowing because you knew what the fuck is under that sheet. And then you
Yeah,
think to
that was
yourself,
dope.
I can't wait to see the ring. It's got to be the ring. What else could it be? So when there's Triple H standing there, you're thinking to yourself, of course he's standing there. Why didn't I think of that? Why wouldn't you have the face, the COO there who like has cut promos all his life, knows how to capture that audience and set the table. And when they did that simple curtain drop to him in the middle of the ring, I go, it's not even like that's a ton of money. It's just good concept and execution. And that
Yeah.
is the vision that we lack in jiu-jitsu. But I wonder if the UFC goes to Netflix, because I think they're trying to hold Disney hostage. And all of these places only have so much money. So HBO's still in debt, aka Max, Warner Brothers. I don't know if they can assume that sort of a debt. Apple TV's looking to get more and more things. It's always in play. It's a possibility. Amazon could ditch ONE FC, bring in the UFC, but that's a lot. And I think they're looking at $1 billion per year. Just to put things in perspective, the Monday Night Raw franchise is approximately $500 million per year. And what makes both of these so desirable is their young 18 to 34 demographic. And guess who also has a strong 18 to 34? Us idiots here in jiu-jitsu. The problem is we don't know how to capitalize it unless your name's Craig Jones. But my prediction this year, I think somebody will actually make inroads in the jiu-jitsu landscape. It won't be for the $1 billion. Let's just get that out of the way. I think Flow Grappling is going to lose one property. I don't know which one. And I think there will be a new emerging, if not streamer, deal that's going to come in. And if the
Mm.
UFC goes somewhere else, I don't know if we get one of these things that goes along with it. And I got a good name for you. It's called the PGF. If it goes along with it, woo, it is very ready to go broader and bigger. I would even say the Craig Jones Invitational, but I think they like being independent. So I'm not ready to make the prediction, even though they would be the most ready position organization. The PGF is the most ready production. And keep in mind, now Craig and his team have months to put together the next Craig Jones Invitational. So we'll see what planning looks like for them, but I'm very excited to see what the future holds for them. In terms of athletes, I think this could be a very marquee year. I feel like this is the year we finally start to see the new Gordon Ryan emerge. And I don't know exactly who that is. There are obviously some names that could emerge as that guy, but you're going to start seeing less of Gordon and maybe less of Mikey. I don't know, even though his deal's there. But we do have some worthy successors. The only thing we don't have is the perfect record. So Gordon has this perfect record he's been going off of. I don't know who can really challenge that. I would argue at this moment it could be the Rotolos, it could be the Tackets, it could be a Canuto, it could be a number of these people that are very intriguing personalities, but I feel somebody's going to break out. And I cannot wait to see who it is. So that's kind of the off predictions that I have here. And then I think just on the side here, I think for us here at the bullpen, I feel like we are going to inch our way towards the type of production that you might see on a cable TV. I can't tell you we're going to be on cable TV, but I think we can inch our way there. Like this year, I'm making it very clear I want to get us to a point where we are a production that has a sizzle, a presentation that makes it ready, because I look at a lot of our other folks who do excellent podcasts. I think they do great interviews or they have a great setup. I do not see others like us. So I really want to try and hone in on making that there. And we'll see what we can do. But them's the predictions I got, Tim.
Those are good. I like those a lot. I think you're right about the new Gordon Ryan.
I think it's time. I think the weird part is
Yeah.
someone is going to take that slot, and we don't know quite exactly who that person is, but it seems like somebody is ready to take up the slack. So good luck to everybody there. We go to our next one, which is Tim. You were talking about this. What can you tell us about the PGF qualifier that is happening? It does look like they're taking on not only more importance, and they've added a fourth one this year, but it looks like even the presentation of them is changing. It looks like they even have some super fights. What can you tell us about what you know about what we're about to see that's different for tomorrow's PGF qualifiers, if anything?
So I know that it's being ran through Enigma, and I think this might be the first time that there's been a kind of like a qualifier that's being ran by a different organization. I guess we can say it that way, which is it's a pretty smart move for the PGF, actually, I think, because it creates a natural filter into the PGF. And that's a pretty smart move, because one of the things you need as a promotion is you need talent, and you need a pathway for talent to find its way to your organization. And the sooner you build that and the more clearly in the market that you identify that, the easier it is to get athletes into what you're doing. Tomorrow is going to be the 155 pounders. And these guys at 155 are fast, they're technical. Almost all of them can wrestle. They're high flying. It's a completely different pace than what you saw from like 205ers at the previous season. Like these guys they're quick, man, and they're moving fast. So I expect to see fireworks. There's some pretty good names from the area that are going to be on there. There's Nick Saff. He's down there in Decatur. Dominic Lobo. He's a West Coast guy from 10th Planet Orange. David Weintraub. He's a Shaolin member there. We should see him. I got a couple guys going out there from Nashville. Tyler Sage, who's our wrestling coach, and Sam Davis, who is a lifelong 10th Planet dude, are making the trek down there. I look for big things out of both those guys. So I think it's going to be a real exciting event. I'm not sure if Enigma is going to like actually live stream this, or if they're going to follow the previous model at the other qualifiers in season 7, which was it's all filmed and then it's kind of edited up and packaged up, and you could view it as like a 35 minute piece, which I actually really like. I didn't mind that at all. Live stream is cool too. Like I'll take that live production. That's fun to watch. But I don't mind watching a 30-minute, like, boom, here's everything that happened. You get all the good stuff. You get all the good shots. So the PGF is consistently stepping up his game. So I expect it to see something very, 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 very good tomorrow. So, and there are some super fights. I'm not positive who the super fights are, though. I do apologize for that. But I know there's some super fights. I was talking to one of their teammates last night that was talking about one of their teammates going down there for a super fight. So I think
What
this
can,
is great stuff. There's a lot of eyes on it. Go ahead.
Tim, what can you tell me about the rock troll?
I don't know. What is the rock troll?
Well,
Oh, it
we'll
will
find.
stream and have the package video as well.
Oh,
Okay.
cool. All right. Well, good to know. I mean, the hard part to me is I just don't know what the super fights are. So like part of this is I think done in a presentation style where they've talked about it and I've seen like all these different people go up. It's the reason why it's difficult to follow four different sets because sometimes they go, oh, we got this guy, but this dude's in Nashville. We got this dude. This dude's at the Alabama qualifier. So I'm a little confused slightly. I do trust Christian Papadelos is one of the people behind the Enigma side. So I'm very excited to see what that presentation is. But I've seen a lot of it coming from it. And the
I got the
note
super
is
fights lined up. Sorry.
Max Jolly. Hmm.
Yeah, he's another guy that's in the tournament who should be pretty good. Bryce Lamb
Okay.
is going up against Ethan Allison, and I've actually rolled quite a few times with Bryce Lamb. Bryce Lamb. He's a real good kid come up. I expect him to do really well, honestly. Let's see. We got man, these names are written in some wild looking cursive font. Oh, Sam Parker, she is a Nashville native. She's been in the gym before against it looks like Raina Garbarini, and I apologize if I mispronounce the names here. We got Eldon Magic. These all look like local guys. Oh, these are all I know I've rolled a lot of these guys. Eldon looks like Munsick is going up against Austin Franklin. Austin won the Holy Rollers event that we had here in Nashville at Tin Planet Nashville. Then we got Sawyer Griffin, Michael Wagner, Jackson Spry against Tyler Jackson. Rolled with Tyler quite a few times. Isaac Nichols versus Buddha McClure and Amanda Rowe versus Bobby Figueroa. I'm just going to read through these real quick. Justin Kwong is taking on Aiden Walters. There's quite a few super fights, actually. Elliot Metzer is going up against Willow Crawford. We know Willow Crawford. Luis Gonzalez is fighting Jaden Draper. I know Jaden very well. And Beto Vargas and Brock Schaefer. James Cole, Joe Alexander Jr. There's three more. Logan Charles, Logan Corley, and Crawford Helton, Sean Mason, and Michael Kravetsky. And then that's it. Yeah. So mostly local super fights, but those are all pretty good grapplers. I've rolled with several of them.
Very nice. So we know the quality will be very good. It'll be interesting to see who emerges from that. And it does look like Egg put some more context to that. Max Jolly is the rock troll. Now, that part I put together. It's the Max Jolly message you originally sent that just makes me think like that's like a name and a description. I don't know. It's like
Yeah.
a full first and last name. It's like, well, how would you describe Max Jolly? No,
I've
that's
bought
his
Max
name.
Jollies from the dispensary in California.
You know, it's stuff
1,000
like that
milligrams.
that makes me think when they do show up on the roster, I hope that they are ready for this type of top tier analysis for their names. Like, most people come on thinking we're upping the production and making them sound like rock stars. Not the case. We're actually bringing the production down back to our level. So we should do that, but we would say, I hope all things are a success. I look forward to seeing the results. I will definitely be trying to look in on that live stream and pay a little bit of attention. So much love to BMAC, his crew. Cannot wait to see who the emerging victor is going to be, who finds their way onto the slot. And as it's been covered, guys, if you aren't on this one, that's pretty much it. Like, you've got 3 other opportunities for qualifiers. And I would tell you this, do not leave it up to chance, because some people, yes, do get the call at the very end, but you should see the way those people are in their feelings when they aren't called and they aren't on the lists, or their names or their posters don't go up. Everybody feels that they deserve a shot. Well, if you haven't been called, you might not get it. So if you want to be involved, go compete. Signing up is a nominal $25 fee from what I've been told, which honestly, for double elimination, I don't know anywhere else that exists. Like,
No, that's good.
everywhere else that I see. And most of the times for a double elimination, you're fighting your way back for third. This is one where you might actually do some great things and continue on and be a beast. So we look forward to seeing who stands out at tomorrow's event. All right, Tim, we're going to go on to our next one. And I'm going to go ahead and let you take the reins here because to me, on this one, it definitely got my attention. But I love when people put up these very feisty sort of headlines that say someone was called a rat, and it turned out they didn't like being called a rat. But Evandro Nunes had some feelings to being labeled a certain way by Henner Gracie. As a result, the two of them paired up for a joint live stream that got lively and at one point involved even eating sushi at a very sketchy kind of party that Craig Jones said, I'm sorry, where's the invite? Nonetheless, I ask you, Tim, what was going on in this? Because they said it was 3 hours, and I said under no circumstances. But nonetheless, what happened on that?
It was 20 minutes of discussion and 2 hours and 40 minutes of Gracie backpack commercials. No, it was I love you, Henner. I'm just kidding. I kid. Evander Nunes, and he's had some kind of beef for a while. Okay. I didn't watch the whole 3.5 hour stream. I got other stuff to do, but he's had a beef for a while with the Gracie Academy. And it seems like it's pretty specific to Henner and heat on Gracie. Okay. Evander was an instructor there. And if I'm not wrong, I think that was his biggest instructor opportunity that he's ever had. And he was a pretty tight-knit part of that team. I do remember that time period when he was with those guys quite a bit, appeared in a lot of their videos, did a lot of work for them. Obviously, taught a lot of classes. And more or less what's going on right now is you got two guys that are calling each other rat. You know, they're both going like, dude, you ain't right. And on Evandro's side, he has been slow dripping media like Instagram reels and interviews here and there about something that happened that was really terrible and how you should like nobody's a master and jujitsu, almost like jujitsu's bad and he's gonna burn it all down. And he actually made a video where he burns his black belt. It's very provocative. The problem, and this came up about 4 months ago on Reddit, someone was going to interview him and they posted a link to a clip in there and they said like, what kind of questions should I ask? And people were after watching the video, people were like, I hate you for making me watch that video where nothing was actually said about what happened. It was just a bunch of word salad. And it's kind of been that way mostly from Evander, to be honest with you. That is the vibe I've gotten. But more or less, Evander did come out in the video and he said that he had to do humiliation rituals such as Henner made him put cat ears on. And I swear to God, I'm not making this up. It sounds like some shit I'd make up too. He made him put cat ears on for a Gracie breakdown video.
Stop it. You get through this. You get through this, goddammit, Tim. You read this news the way it needs to be read, sir.
Sorry. And if Evander didn't like it, Evander also said that Henner hit him with a stick during the filming of another Gracie video because he wanted Evander to do something and Evander wouldn't do it. I don't know, man. There were other allegations like you alluded to. I'm not saying it was a Diddy party. We're not going that far, okay? But he's kind of calling into question the moral character and fabric of Henner and Heat On. And I think that's probably what is the biggest aspect of this is those are two guys who have really tried, especially Heat On, to conduct themselves in a way where, you know, you can't really put any dirt on them in terms of like morality. And I'm not saying that they've done anything wrong. I have no idea. I'm just telling you what I know with my experience. At the end of this, Evandro, it does turn out that he's selling it's either a product or an ebook or a course you can sign up for, a subscription site. And it's more or less the gist I get is it's about how to be in jujitsu and not be toxic and not be part of a bad club and all that kind of stuff. So I kind of feel like it's a little bit disingenuous, to be honest with you. I'm not saying that he doesn't have any fair complaints, but when you productize it at the end, it's like, damn, dude, you did all that to ask me for some money, to ask me for 35.99 or whatever it is. And that's where I kind of go, this is no different than people getting mad at Lloyd Irvin and his group of dudes who were doing like crazy marketing schemes in jiu-jitsu back in the day, and all the copycats that copied them, and all the weird clickbait stuff we see in jiu-jitsu. It's kind of in the same vein, in my opinion. So I think this is like much ado about nothing. This is like somebody complaining about, oh, what's his face Gracie again. It's like, dude, either spill the beans and it better have substance, or just be fucking real about what you're trying to put out there. And that's the part I guess that irritates me, is the breadcrumbing and the hinting around. So I don't think fire there, man. I think it's just Leandro just, or I'm sorry, Evandro just, you know, maybe with some legitimate complaints, but also trying to hustle a dollar. So
Can I ask if there was any resolution that we're aware of in their video? Because it's different. Like, it's one thing to have somebody that you accuse and then you bring them on, and people are very in love with this idea. Like, people like their red meat when it comes to this sort of product. They like to be able to be like, all right, these two are going to have a debate, which most of the time, no debate. But then they go, well, they're just going to yell at each other. Nah, it's going to come together and we're going to figure out stuff. Did anything happen? Like, did they see each other's perspective? Did they just go like, all right, well, go fuck yourself. Go fuck yourself, deuce.
yeah, it was not Jerry Springer, and it also wasn't Dr. Phil. There was no, both guys just kind of walked away like, yeah, I'm even more resolute that I'm right. I'm pretty sure I'm right now after having the conversation. So I don't know. Maybe maybe he'll sell some subscriptions, dude. I don't know.
Okay, well, glad we did it. Again, I think I read the same article that everybody else did. I think it was from Jits Magazine. It did the recap. It said there was the whole humiliation ritual. Of which point I kind of say, like, our internet culture is very obsessed. I think they're almost rooting for more stories to happen like this, just so that they can claim
Hmm.
that they're right about a certain thing. We're like, see, it's a Diddy party. And I go, is it? Because again, without the actual claim or evidence, we don't know. But this one, it just sounded like they were trying to do a funny video, and he got the short end of the stick, which is not cool. Like, I wouldn't say everybody has to do it. And I would have said maybe he doesn't have to do it, but I think the contention was he felt like he was doing it for his family. There was too much at risk, that if he didn't do it politically, he would have backlash. It's very confusing. And then at the very
Yeah.
end of it, if he is hawking a QVC product, I don't even know what to make of that, because I don't know the full context other than, well, the first claim was he was worried about his family and not being able to pay the bills. So then he got the same guy on to do a confrontation with the intention of creating a buzz, and there might have been a product placement at the end of that. That's not for someone else, it's for his own brand and products. Tim, I don't have enough to really make a declaration here, but just by putting it that way, it kind of seems weird. I would also tell you that just from the description of it as well, when it did put down that he was in a suit, like a dog suit or whatever it was, it looked like
Yeah.
the show Wilfred that used to star Elijah
Yeah.
Wood. And I
Yes,
thought that's
yes.
kind of what the bit was. And then I realized they go, yeah, they had a disagreement from this. I stopped reading from there because I go, I don't know what this is. I just know it looks weird. And anybody who does comedy knows you're going to do some dumb shit. And I got to tell you, some of the best comedians that we have in our sport do some ridiculous need to get the first attention in those first 2 seconds you glance at it sort of commentary work.
Yeah.
So I don't know, man. I have very many uncertain feelings about it. I had just wondered if it got any resolution. I wonder if they
No.
continue to make any notes from it, but it just felt weird with our nation's obsession with, yeah, well, they're going to debate each other. It's like, yeah, you hate me, debate me, you coward. It's like
Two
nothing's
guys that
going to
don't
be
know how to
done.
debate. You at least got to take the bullpen court debate primer if you're if you're gonna debate, man.
It's just
Uh,
most
and
people, when they
I
say they want to debate, they just want to yell. But go on, Tim.
I wish we would do a bit where I could dress up in a dog suit. I would gladly do it, man. I would fucking love it, man. I'd even let Kevin hit me with a stick, dude. If we can get a few laughs out of it, let's go.
I'll be honest here. I mean, I don't necessarily think humiliation whenever doing stuff. I'm just like, if I think it's funny, I'll make you do it. But I'm also of the mindset of like, if I think something's really out of place, I tend to just do it myself. Like, I'm
Yeah.
usually culprit one as like, all right, don't ask someone else to do something you wouldn't do. So that's my MO. Now, granted, I listen, dude. I can't get over the fact. I'm not gonna lie to you and tell you guys that there aren't hierarchies that exist in a world of jiu-jitsu where belts do matter, and that
For
sometimes you
sure.
don't mop the floors because, hey man, you guys are a little ranked under me, so let's get to cleaning. Like, all of these things exist. I know that. Some are more severe than others. This humiliation ritual was more me going like, this is a comedy bit that just seems dumb. And really, you should have the ability to say you're uncomfortable doing it. That's all. And then there should be an understanding, hey, you know what? I'm not going to cancel you as a human being from our affiliation. It's just maybe you shouldn't. Or maybe I can get someone else here. Who knows, dude? You would be amazed. Even when we do like our WWE BJJ shit, and I'm like, hey, man, I need somebody to take a stunner. I get volunteers who are like, I'll do it. And I go, you're going to look dumb, though. And they're like, sounds fun. Because they know it's just meant to be silly. So
Yeah.
I get it. I understand it. I also like if somebody said I don't want to do it, I wouldn't be like, yeah, you're gonna fucking do this or you don't get promoted. I'd be like, yeah, you're right. All right, sounds good.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, I digress. We gave that plenty of time. I have no clue. I'll let you guys know the next time we see something come up. I just know that if you call someone a rat continuously, you're probably going to see some follow up on that, whether you're the person it's going against or you're the person doing it. So perhaps let's not call people rats without expectations. Nonetheless, we move on. All right, this one's interesting because I think this is happening here today, and I think this is an underrated match. This is Tommy Langaker and Dante Leone are taking on one another at 1FC. This is a banger of a match. Tim, do you have any prediction as to how this match may go, sir?
Well, man, you know, I have a real hard time betting against Dante Leone, especially after his performance at ACC. He's just freaking good, man. And Langaker is not a walk in the park either. Both those guys are pretty avid competitors. I think Leon might have had a little layoff in 2023 due to injury, but he looked good at ADCC. He he's very dangerous in many positions. We saw him play a lot of guard. We've seen him wrestle. We've seen him take the back recently. So he's a tough dude to beat. I think Langaker is more known for his leg attacks, I believe. I think it's going to be a great match. It's really cool that one is still doing this, and I do enjoy and I will tune in. And sometimes I'm more likely to tune in for a card that has one or two jujitsu matches, and then the rest are like Muay Thai and MMA, versus a card that has 25 jujitsu matches. Because usually when there's one or two, they have some really big names on the card. So I think it's going to be a good night, but I think Leon has the edge here.
I would agree with you. And I mean, we mentioned the fact that Tommy Langaker is just a monster of an opponent. Like, he's had some very notable wins in his time. I want to say one of his most recent major wins. I think he has a win over Canuto, correct?
Yeah, I believe he does.
Like, he's put on some banger of matches, and I like him a lot. I think he is an excellent, excellent grappler. I think putting these two together, excellent work by 1FC. I just feel like Dante has this momentum. I think it's hard to beat. Let's put it this way. if Tommy beats Dante, that is a huge statement. Like, not to say he can't. It's just with the momentum that Dante has, the consistency of his performances, I think it would be the upset here. So I feel like that would be something that would, I would say, less unexpected and more, wow, impressive if we do see that happen here tonight.
Yeah, based on where they are right now. I think Langaker beat Leon on points in the gi a few years ago. But man, Nogi's a different animal, dude. And winning on points versus winning on, with a sub or getting the judges to declare you the winner, it's a different thing, man. And the IBJJF, there's lots of ways to win. There just are, man. And sometimes you're watching and you can't even, like, if you let somebody watch that doesn't watch grappling, they can't even tell you who won. They have no idea. The rules are so odd and for some of the advantages and point scoring. So yeah, but I think you're right. I think Leon has the advantage right now.
Do you feel, and this is something that I'm not perhaps considering heavily, but maybe I should a little bit more. Do you feel like in jiu-jitsu, especially for the IBJJF, it's purposely ambiguous so that even when you walk in and you have no idea what's happening, you go, wait, what? Because I've always wondered, I'm like, well, it always seems like ambiguity as a result of just randomness or a consequence. This is one that I'm like, is it purposeful? Like, do they just go, it's like an advantage. It kind of exists if we think it exists. It's just for the point of going like, wait, do I need to watch that again? Do I need to get a Flow Grappling subscription just to watch that? Oh God, I don't want that. Thank you though.
What they want you to have to take the IBJJF referee course to actually understand. And I had to take it to get my gi black belt certified. I did. I ponied up the cash and took all the courses. And while it was interesting, some of it was just like head scratching. It's like, what? This is that way. Why? And there's a couple exploits still in there that guys can take advantage of. And just, everyone's gaming the rule. I definitely don't hate the player here. I hate the game because the players are going to do what they're going to do. Everyone's trying to win.
Tim, do you feel like they also maybe extend that policy to when you take the course, they make you more confused so that by the end of it, you're like, wait, I thought I had a pretty good understanding. Now I recognize after taking the course, I know little. And they're like, exactly. Perfect. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
2,000 for me. How much was that course?
Man, I don't remember, but it was, I know the total cost after I did jump through the hoops and paid the registration fees, I was out about between $600 and $800, which is insane. And that's just, look, when you get a stripe, then you got to pay again to have your new certificate with the stripe on it. And I got my gi black belt in 2016, but that's not respected because I didn't register it until like 2021.
Oh my God.
So you lose 5 years of service, which is like, it's so silly. Look, it's all silly anyway, but they really put the squeeze on you.
So first of all, okay, the program cost about $600 to $800 to do all that stuff
in total.
Right?
Yeah, to do all the things they make you do.
I cannot tell you this more as a hobbyist. Every once in a while they come into town and I think like, maybe I should do one. I want to learn how to be okay or just have better knowledge of that world. And then I think I look it up and I always go, nah, no.
Yeah.
No. Like it really does come down to me looking at how much it costs and looking at the price and going, I could go here and get like 4 tournaments for this price. This does not make any sense to me.
Yeah. I agree.
So
for what you're going to get. Yeah.
And it's like, dude, the weird part is, I think even as a hobbyist, it's not even like I'm looking at them like they need to give me money. Like, give your main athletes money. If you can give us some, that's great. You know what it is? What if you just get reimbursed if you win? If you win, man, that is a fucking huge incentive. A break even, just so that you're not even more poor by the end of it. I feel like that may make some of these matches have way more stakes.
Yeah, definitely, dude. Like, if you win first place, you break even, or maybe you give it to the second place guy, and the first place guy gets $100, something, you know. But it's just like,
Could you imagine? You didn't even pay like less than 100. Like you paid more than $100. So just them being like, "Hey, here you go," and they just put it down your shirt, your rash guard. You're like, "Please respect me. This feels like you're just using me."
you get $100 in IBJJF credit for a future tournament.
By the way, one of my favorite stories of all time is uh one of my best friends and she and I somehow were like the last two people in a dance contest in what is it? A middle school? And it's like, of all people, it's your best friend. So we don't give a shit how this is going to play out. And then they say like, "Hey, this is for $250." And I swear to God, it became a war. It was like, I'm so serious for money now. I won. And I'm going up to the dude being like, "Hey man, let me see what you got." And he writes out this thing and I see it. I'm like, "Oh, yo." And he goes, "Here you go." And I go, "This is a $250 gift certificate to you." And he's like, "Yeah." And I go, "What am I going to do with this?" He goes, "If you need DJ services, you have $250 credit." And I go, "Okay." We go home. We're like, "What are we going to do with this?" "I guess we have to throw a party." So we started getting this guy together. I was like, "All right, man. So what do you need to make this happen?" And he goes, "Oh yeah, so that gets you that. But my minimum is to go do an event. I need $400."
Oh my gosh.
And I was like, "So then we still have to pay you 150?" He's like, "Yeah, plus this." And I go, "What is this for?" So we were legitimately going ahead to plan a party. Something happened. We had to cancel it. Or I don't know what came up. But I remembered going on a radio station. Like I called in on a radio station. I chewed them like out. Like in a 20-second blurb. They had a thing on this thing. They said, "Who do you want to say they need to stick a firecracker up their butt for?" And it was like for, of course, 4th of July. I talked about this company. They heard it and they're like, "Why did you call them about us?" And I go, "You canceled us. And
Yeah.
you gave us a gift certificate for you." Like that to me is the IBJJF stuff where they'd be like, "Here you go, Raf, $250." I'd be like, "Yes." Wait, to the store?
Yeah. To your
But
future black belt registration
no.
fees.
Oh my God. Actually, you know what? That wouldn't be the word. After hearing how much you spent on it, I'm shook. And I shouldn't be because I should know these things. But nonetheless, you spending money like that has me feeling a certain way. Tim, we should go on to our last topics, which right now are fight. So what can you tell us about the fight that we have coming up here today?
This is a very special street fight. It takes place in a backyard, and this is the first 3-round street fight that I didn't know that we were actually adding rounds in now. They're actually getting regulated. So it's a 3-round street fight. They're trying to get picked up by a streaming network. And um the beginning of the fight, it's one of those fights where the guy really can't measure distance, and it scraps back and forth. There's a little bit of striking, a little bit of takedowns, and then there's a surprise in the 3rd round.
Uh-oh.
A great surprise. It goes WWE in the 3rd round, which I can appreciate. I actually liked it, and it worked out very well in the end. So I think you
All
guys
right.
will find this one amusing.
Tim, go ahead. Walk us through this fight if you would be so kind.
So this has got to be like two drunk dudes, ponytail guy, long haired guy is basically not even getting hit by bald dude in the jorts. And then he just kind of chest punches him, and the dude collapses back. And now he gives him a talking to. And now we cut to round 2. So that was the end of round 1.
Oof.
Round 2, it was a power slap start, and then they grapple up against the cage. And this was pretty much the whole round. It was pretty boring. This round was some lay and pray. Top guy just held a headlock. Round 3 sees a new entrance into the fight, and he takes on both guys. He's not fighting for either guy. He's fighting for the contract himself. Not going to hit the girl, but he cleans house, man. This dude comes in, shirt off, pants pulled all the way up, belt cinched, and cleans house in round 3 of this fight. And I can appreciate that. And at first I thought, oh man, this guy jumped in, because I don't like it when dudes jump in if it's just mano a mano. But he beat up both dudes. So I'm like, were they having an unsanctioned fight in this guy's backyard? And he's like, hey, I got to get cut in on this. You can't just do a fight back here without giving me my piece. So, yeah, I found that one pretty amusing.
Okay. I'll give you my interpretation here, and I'll walk you through what I think is happening. So first, let's talk about both these gentlemen. The differentium we should say is, let's just say that Frankie Quinones over to the left is taking on Forge, the X-Man's cousins, T.O., with the longer white hair. Which, by the way, can we just say this? If you have white hair, you might be too old to be in fights. But I digress. Here we are. He goes on. Frankie Quinones comes in. Doesn't quite connect a lot here. But listen, I love that Forge's cousin's dad is doing a great job of managing the distance. So kudos to him. He does take a few shots here. Now, that one definitely started to hit him and blew back some of the states on the back of his shirt, but he does get a knockdown here. And you'd think the tides are taking, but he is actually holding back on the punches. He's letting them get back up. He's trying to say, like, hey, listen, let's talk this out. I'm from the future. You don't know that. But this kid, Frankie Quinones, in round 2, has gotten him so mad that now he went from being peaceful, like, no, my son, no, this violence is never the way, straight out to, unless it's a one-way street, bitch, take this. And then proceeds to put some hands on him and does get a knockdown, which impressive. Now, you talked a little bit about the reversal of the position here. We talk a lot about wall work in our worlds. Very few people actually talk about gutter work, because here, as he drags him to the bottom of the house, it looks like he's trying to bring him into the basement. And somehow they break the action one more time. So there's a lot of ellipsis that happens here that we don't know. But then the third entrant comes in, just probably listening to some Danzig, Mother 94, and decides that he has had enough. But Tim, here's why it's confusing. He tells him, stand down. He gets pushed down. So it's not just him taking on one person. He's not only breaking up the fight, he says, let me get in on this. Frankie Quinones backing up. Doesn't seem like he's going to be able to take on this. And now is getting put down very easily here. Meanwhile, who's this? Oh, is that a lady? So is this
the
one
ref?
of the... She's the ref. Well, obviously. Now, let's say this. Forge's cousin's dad takes a heavy one here. And now it looks like he's actually going to get taken down pretty savagely. And that's kind of where this dude gets back up. And Mother 94 continues with the beatdown of everybody. I mean, it's impressive just for his ability to mitigate everything. But if you were taking bets, you would have lost on all fronts, because it would have been the emerging third guy that you didn't even know was in the fight. Remarkable storytelling here, Tim.
That was fantastic, Raf. You said, you don't know me, I'm from the future. The thing I love is,
why is an old guy getting in a fight? Like, Tim, ask yourself, how many fights are you getting into? And even when I'm around, I'm like, I probably shouldn't be in a fight, because I'm going to be one of the videos that we talk about on this show. I just feel like that threat should be more in people's lives.
Did you see that both of the original contestants had the same length shorts on? They both had the new style mid ankle length shorts that are coming back hard, I guess. They were rocking them.
You know what it is? They probably both got them as gifts from their significant others, and just like, oh my God, how low are these? Oh my God, they're almost to my ankles. You knew I wanted this. Thank you. Thank you. Like, they're not even full on pants. They're just like literally just a little snipped right below the knee. It is astounding to me, though, when you see this man who is trying to, the white old dude, just trying to do this and very much trying to, like, no, my presence will, takes one and goes, this isn't going to work. Gets in on it. The new emerging guy comes in, and you realize, like, talk is cheap at this point, but violence is delicious in this case. So kudos to you.
Yeah.
Well done. Well, sir, let's just very quickly look and scan here. I know we brought up most of these comments, but Much appreciation to everybody who chatted in a little bit earlier. I just want to recap here. Thank you again to Chan for checking in on us. And as Egg was reminding us a little bit earlier, he did say this, though. He said, "Who teaches you how to drive in snow? My folks did in Kansas." You know what's so funny is that I love when Egg chimes in with experience that is solo to his own life and then thinks like, how come you guys didn't have that? Like, oh, you didn't have my parents? That's on you guys.
Yeah.
Like, no, dude, we didn't live in Kansas either. So those of us who live in California, we basically go like, let's go to where the fake snow is. All right, let's go to these 4 destinations.
Yeah, right,
And when that
right,
happens,
right.
you're probably not having the worst snow conditions because people take care of it very well out that way for us. If you go to one of the real America places and you're like, yo, you have to go there, that's a more difficult place to do it. So kudos if you do know. It's just Tim, we're worried about you, want you to be safe. So I hope that tomorrow you make the right decisions you need to that are at best for your friends and your family. But I know you would be welcomed if you so were to make it on down to the Decatur to go see those 10th Panic qualifiers for the PGF Season 8.
Yeah, man. I hope it thaws out a little bit and I can make the trek. I am cautiously watching the situation. I definitely don't want to put myself at risk because, man, you get 30 minutes outside of Nashville and it gets remote, and there's just, I don't want to get stuck.
I do love that we are in an era where you can tell the year 2025 is a certain way when all of us are going, I'm monitoring the situation. I cannot tell you how
Yeah.
many texts I have sent back to people because, again, very lovely friends and family being like, are you okay? And I go, yes. If I can text you right now, the answer is yes. Like, if I can't text you, it means I have to wait a couple hours to get to safety. Fortunately, that has not been the case. And yes, I'm also doing my best trying to take care of everybody else and make sure everybody else is okay and checking in on my people. While it's appreciated, it's also when they go, anything can happen. I go, I'm monitoring the situation. Yes. So I think everybody's just doing the best that they can. It's just very incredibly. How many texts do I see or memes do I say in these times? They're like, do I keep having to live through these times? It would be
Yeah.
nice to start
Right.
off the year and not have it be so extreme. But nonetheless, you're healthy. I'm healthy. I believe Kevin right now is healthy. We wish him luck and success tomorrow when he gets on a plane and he heads to go coach his good friend Baby Goose. But Tim, I'm going to put the camera on you if you want to go ahead and plug where people can find you, good sir. Oh, nope, that is
Yeah, you
me. How about they're both me? I
Hey.
thought I made one of them you. Let's very quickly fix this. There we go. Bam, Tim.
Hey, you can find me on Instagram and all the other social media platforms at Inside BJJ. If you're in the Nashville area, please check us out, 10th Planet Nashville. If you're out in Northern California, go see my homies at 10th Planet Stockton. And I want to encourage you, in lieu of spending all your money on a Inside BJJ Patreon, if you got extra bread, donate it to one of the fine references that Raf left earlier in the show. If you got goods that you can give to help folks out, you should try to do it. Don't even worry about it. Just do it. If you have the feeling to do it, just go do it. Worst case is you give somebody something and they have a little bit extra. Best case is you give somebody something who really needed it and may have not been in a mental state to be able to ask for it. So all that help is appreciated. So do what you can.
Thank you for that, Tim. Again, happy to see that you and the family are good. I look forward
Likewise,
to
Raf.
seeing you continue to do well. Good luck to your son, who sounds like he is killing it in the wrestling world. And yeah, I'm going to let you get on out of here, sir. Please enjoy the rest of your night.
All right, brother. Have a good one.
All right, you as well. All right, that is Tim Freeman. And on behalf of us here at the Bullpen, we very much appreciate you guys for tuning in with us. Another great installment of the show here. We have so many people we want to say thank you and that we hope that they are doing well. So big shout outs to everybody in the Pasadena area. If you have been affected by these fires here in California, we send our best, we send our love, and hopefully very soon with the help of a number of generous people, we'll be sending some packages, some food, some stuff like that. And again, just to remind you guys, if you live in San Diego at 10th Planet Oceanside on January 25th, there will be a seminar with PJ and Geo and Boogie. That is going to be superb. Definitely get on that. The proceeds and the materials that they get are going to be donated to the good folks who have had some hardships out in the Pasadena area. And again, we're not through it yet, but it does help when the community comes together. So if you do have the means to give, please do that. It really does make a difference. Nonetheless, we hope that you guys, if you have any changes to your gyms or anything that comes up in the next few days, like I said, because we're not out of the woods just yet, weather conditions can change. Anything we know on a drop of a dime can go ahead and modify within seconds. Please feel free to use us as a resource. Tag us, mention us, whatever it is that we can help to get the word out. We definitely want to help those in our community, in our grappling world, because we definitely care. And additionally, thank you again. I cannot express the amount of love that has been outpoured to myself, my friends, my family. While some of my friends have had structural damage to some of their homes, I am happy to say that they are all doing okay physically. So very happy to hear that. I hope the best for everybody else, their friends, their family, but do your best to check in on your people. If I can leave you with anything like that, and don't take for granted that you are seeing your people. So hug them a little bit extra special if you do see your friends and family. It really does mean a lot, and I'm sure they will appreciate it. But ladies and gents, that's going to do it for us here at the Bullpen. We thank you for hanging out with us on this wonderful Friday afternoon. It's been a great day for grappling. We'll see you back on the mats.